What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics. Today we got a reaction to Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, or BRMC as it'll be known from now on, and their album Howl, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link or patron link on the end screen. All right, so 3 years ago, Trey and Ashley did a song battle of two songs off of this album, Howl versus the gospel song, brought to us by our great longtime patron, CSN. I don't remember that battle. I remember I liked the songs because I like pretty much everything that CSN brings, but I don't remember the songs. So I basically haven't heard any of these. I've heard two of the songs once. If you don't know anything about them, BRMC is an American rock band from San Francisco, California. It originally consisted of Peter Hayes on vocals, guitar, and harmonica, Robert Levon Bean on vocals, bass, and guitar, and Nick Jago on drums. Jago departed the band in 2008 and was replaced by Leah Shapiro, although the lineup I just gave you is who's on this album. They've released 8 studio albums as well as several EPs and live albums. This is their third studio album, released in August of 2005 in the UK and US, and September in Japan. The record was released in the UK and Europe by the Echo label and by RCA in the US, Australia, Japan, and the rest of the world. 14 in the UK, which is pretty good. 90 in the US. Metacritic gave it a 70 out of 100, so critics were kind of mixed on it. Entertainment Weekly did give it an A-. NME and Pitchfork 7.0 out of 10. The title of the record is a direct reference to Allen Ginsberg's poem, Howl. According to Robert, it's a tribute to San Francisco, right? Both a tribute to the hilly city's artistic legacy and the band's own roots there. They formed the band and lived together there until 1999, and then they left for Los Angeles. In the August 2018 issue of E&M dedicated to great lost or cult albums, this album was selected by Guy Garvey, the great leader of Elbow, as his favorite lost album. Now, I was able to read some stuff on this album that wasn't, readily available. I kind of mined the internet a little bit and came up with some stuff, but they have claimed that they signed to the Echo label in order to release more singles from their album. They're only allowed to release 2 from their previous album. Now, they got dropped because of some various things from Virgin Records, but that's a whole nother story. Despite this, their first single from Howl, the album opener, Shuffle Your Feet, was a download-only single, and therefore, at that time, back then, was not eligible to chart. Following this, they released Ain't No Easy Way, the most recognizable and popular song from the album. Noticeably after this, the proposed third single, Weight of the World, never materialized, with only a limited number of copies surfacing. Again, a non-chart eligible, so if you're tracking at home, they got 2 singles on their last album. They really only got 1 on this one. Here's kind of how this came about. They were having some real turmoil. 2004, months after the release of their sophomore record, Take Them On Your Own, that album was not liked at all critically. BRMC was unceremoniously dropped by Virgin Records, as I mentioned. Around the same time, founding drummer Nick Jago slinked away from the group, reportedly incapable of handling the rigor of a major label publicity push, and he was not showing up to gigs on time, and sometimes at all. The trio has traded in their pedals and snares. And on this album, they're going to be way less hardcore, right? They're going to have a lot of slides and acoustics on here. Guitar vocalist Robert Turner has reverted back to his given name, which I gave you earlier, Robert Levon Bean. Originally changed to distance him from his father, who was Michael Bean of the 80s rockers The Call. So he wanted to be his own man. I get that. And Jago is back. However, now I only found this in one place. They don't hold me this, but it said he only was on 1 of the 13 tracks on this album. That was the song Promise. Now, they've been wanting to write a folk album they talked about since their debut album came out. But it wasn't until Jago started missing shows during the second record, Wilderness Years, that Hayes and Levon Bean were forced to give impromptu unplugged performances, adding newly pinned acoustic numbers as their safety net to their set. Got out those acoustic numbers, boys and girls, in case your drummer doesn't show up. Now, on this one, we've got an auto harp, a piano, a trombone, and timpani, all featured alongside the usual guitar and harmonica. So there's a lot of different stuff on here. All tracks are written by Peter Hayes and Robert Levon Bean. And I'm going to tell you on each song who's singing because they kind of trade off lead vocals. So if you've never been with us before, the music will not be in the video, but it's going to be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along with us. All right, you see it below. We're going to start with the album opener, Shuffle Your Feet. And as I mentioned, I'm sure you were paying attention, but as I mentioned, this is a download-only single. So it really doesn't count from back then. All right, I'll have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Robert. All right, shuffle your feet. And it kind of, it had that kind of sound to it where you just wanted to shuffle your feet. It was more a country type of sound almost, right? But Hayes was on the lead vocals there. I told you I'd tell you who it was, and then I didn't. But Peter Hayes singing lead vocal there. Instrumentation more towards a country type folk sound, but verses kind of repeated themselves and just kind of got the point across. Time won't save our souls. And then, well, everything's going down. Nothing seems to feel the same. No one seems to know my name. No one seems to go my way. Who knows if I'll see you again? And then one more for the soulmate dreamers, for the wicked man, for the peaceful protest that keeps the war in demand. Who knows if I'll see you again? And then in the background, probably not, Darwin. So well done, man. Good sound. Now we'll go to the title track, which is sang by Robert. All right, the title track, Howl. That was an incredibly interesting song. But I love the soundscape. And over half of the song, Robert is in my left ear, but he's not in my right. The music is, the guitar and then the organ and stuff. It's jamming out in my right channel of my headphones. So when you're listening to it through headphones, it's a fantastic listening experience. I think it's kind of the old adage, right? The girl doesn't want the guy, or the guy doesn't want the girl, whoever's writing the song, their perspective. But you try so hard to be cold. You try so hard to not show. I give you nothing to doubt, and you doubt me. I give you all that I have, but you don't see. So that's how this song starts out. So, and you can feel the pain in his voice. I really, really like that. And quite the difference from the opener. I thought the opener was good. I thought this song was really good. When we come to the third song, it's got an interesting title. Devil's Waitin'. All right, Devil's Waitin'. That one was sung by Peter, by the way. I should have said that. But look, I read some reviews of this album because you kind of got to, when these albums don't have a lot on them, guys, you got to read everything you can because you're trying to find quotes from the artist, and you can find other stuff that's not in the wiki or anything because they're just, they've got a connection to the record companies for these albums that aren't real well known, so they know other information. But there are some critics that didn't like this song. They singled this song off. I kind of don't remember the other songs, what they said, but Devil's Waitin' has an interesting title to it. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought musically so far, we're all over the place in a good way on the first three songs. We're everywhere. And this one was just dialed back, right? It's dialed back. It's basically an acoustic and a little bit of a pedal steel in the background. Shades of Johnny Cash, especially late Johnny Cash, right? I got the whole American series up on the channel, but he talks about the beginning, out on the corner with cast iron blood, 10,000 or more with hearts on their own. They say I might die and I may be cold. I may have no Jesus. I may have no soul. In prison, I hear there's time to be good, but the first thing you see is the last thing you should. I thought that was fantastic writing because even people who go to prison and are innocent, or people who are young and go to prison for something, they made a mistake, they don't come out of prison the same way because it's such a hardcore place. And then the chorus, well, I've seen the battle and I've seen the war, and the life laying here is the life I've been told. Yeah, I've seen the battle and I've seen the war, and the life I have here is the life I've been sold. So it kind of goes through. And then at the end, we're falling fast, but we've no cares. We know our Lord's going to meet us there. And he just repeats that over and over again. So as a Christian, I think it's an interesting song. No matter what you do, there's still time to be saved. No one's beyond salvation, right? That's just, I'm not going to get into religious soapbox here, but and that's kind of a misnomer that some so-called Christians put out when they're sitting there judging everybody. But really well done for this guy. Now we'll go to the true lead single, right? The only one that's actually released that could chart. This one has got by far the most Spotify streams. We got Ain't No Easy Way. All right, Ain't No Easy Way. I didn't tell you there, Peter singing on that. But so you got some big time steel guitar riffs, got some harmonica in there. Just kind of like a stomping like song, right? All country a little bit, country in there, just stomping song. Good energy on this. Once again, that's 4 songs now that all sound, pretty vastly different. I liked it. I didn't love it. It's interesting to me for a lead single, I guess, because it's up tempo and it's 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Maybe they figured it would get played. It's fine. I like Howl and Devil's Waiting actually better, but it's a good song. Interesting title. Next, we got Still Suspicion Holds You Tight. Gonna have Peter singing this one as well. Still Suspicion Holds You Tight. Kind of what it sounds like. That suspicion, like this guy's suspicious of everyone, right? He really doesn't trust anything. Like, starts out, you're everything you need, and so you fight. You take them on your own until you die. So on your own. The wisdom in your breath comes much too late, and everyone you see just gets a face. In time, the words will come, they say with faith, but everything you see just turns to gray. You're everything you need, The suspicion holds you tight. Once again, it's 5 songs in a row. It's a different kind of soundscape. I enjoyed this song. I thought it was well done. I thought the instrumentation was interesting, and the way they kind of punched it up with different instruments during the chorus to add a little more drama to it. Peter was almost talking to us, right? Instead of singing. I mean, he was singing, but you didn't have to hit a bunch of notes, right? He's unfolding a story. So well done. Peter's singing lead on this song as well. We got Fault Line. All right, Fault Line. A good song. It was driving me nuts during that song. If you saw me trying to like ponder that, just little repeating acoustic guitar melody. It was reminding me of something, man. It's driving me crazy. I could not place it. I still can't place it. I'm sure I'll place it as soon as I'm done recording this, right? But it's just like there's something about it. And you might say, well, it's kind of low-hanging fruit, and acoustic and harmonic. It got a little Dylan sound to it. But I didn't really think it had a little Dylan sound. I thought the last song, Still Suspicion, Holds You Tight. The first half of that had a little bit of Dylan to it. But this song it's good, man. It fits in with, I've been waiting on the fault line, living evil take me on. I'll be standing with my dying bed if you care to come along, racing with the rising tide at my father's door. I've been lying in the bright light, see my shadow from below. Never wanted from another man, never wanted for my own. I mean, I don't really know what this song's about. There's a little bit of father issues in there, but I don't know. Now we're going to get back to Robert singing lead vocals on Promise. All right, so it's Robert Levon Bean, which the name Levon, right? Levon Helm from the band. This song sounded like a band song, The Band. I mean, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club doing The Band. That's exactly what this sounded like. Great piano action on here. Robert just has that voice. Peter's probably a better singer, but I've really enjoyed Robert's 2 songs on here. If that makes sense. But I don't know it could be a father talking to his son. The protagonist has been through a difficult time and probably a broken relationship, but it could be a lot of different things. I'm going to go with that. And the father's trying to comfort him, and things are going to get better, and then eventually they do get better. But just a wonderful musical journey on this one. Next up, we got Weight of the World, and Robert's going to continue on lead vocals on this one. Weight of the World, that one's driving me nuts too, because Robert sounds like somebody on this one. His vocals are a little different than they were in the other 2 songs. This song's fine. Weight of the World's kind of self-explanatory. I don't know what the weight of the world he has on him is. I thought there was a little dissonant guitar work on there too, so that was... so the instrumentation was nice. I mean, might be my least favorite song so far, but I mean, I like this album quite a bit. But we still got 5 songs left. Let's go to Restless Center. We got Peter back on vocals here. Restless Center, a little ominous there, a little acoustic stuff, but a little ominous in there. That fade out, a little long drawn out fade out on there too, which is a little different than what we've had on other songs, but can't be known what lies in wait. For those of us in crippled states, a broken mind is no escape. When there's no one left to reason with, there's no one left to call your name, and then he gets in that fool's going to fall and raise another fallen child. So somebody on the wrong path, maybe somebody selfish, right? Self-serving, and they're on the wrong path, and it's going to make them end up somewhere they don't want to be. The restless sinners, which brings us right into a good segue. We got Robert back on vocals for Gospel Song. All right, Gospel Song. Wonderful guitar work on here. I like the vocals. It's almost like there's a treatment on it. I don't know if there was or not. And Robert delivers these vocals very slowly, right? He draws them out. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way at all, but he draws them out. So there's only 2 verses. But the verses change a little bit. So in the verse, he starts out, I will walk with Jesus till I can't go anymore. But in the second verse, he says, I will stay with Jesus till I can't stay anymore. And then the first verse, I will stay with Jesus till I can't go another mile. And the second verse, I will stand with Jesus till I can't take another stone. And then the other 3 lines are the same. So it's interesting. He's gung-ho to follow Jesus, but then I think he's saying once the persecution becomes too much, he's going to walk away from it, which is what I think so many Christians do. Not necessarily the persecution, but life gets rough and they start... they're false Christians, and I'm not going to get on a religious soapbox here, but the Bible warns that there's so many wolves in sheep's clothing. There's so many false people who either believe they're believers or they're trying to deceive other believers. But an interesting song to just pop up on here, right? There's been some spiritual overtones on some things, but this one's actually overt, not covert. Well, we got Peter back on lead on this song. I've had a few of these in my life. Complicated Situation. All right, Complicated Situation, just acoustic and harmonica big time on that. Complicated Situation, something to do with the youth, but then we find out it's really him, it's me, mama, Complicated Situation. So well done. Pacing on it was pretty good, kept my attention. I don't really know exactly what was going on there. And Peter's still on lead on this. We got Sympathetic News. We got 3 songs left, although I'll get into that. The last song is hidden track stuff. I'll cover that in a minute. Sympathetic News. Also just a cool, once again, it sounds like there's a little bit of a vocal treatment or effect on there. There might not be. It might just be the way it's mixed, but I definitely enjoyed that. I don't really know what this is about either, but I got a feeling I can't lose. I got a Sympathetic News, but I don't know how to be grateful. Yeah, I don't know how you're thankful. So maybe he's a little pessimistic and he's talking to somebody who enjoys life. I got a feeling I can't lose. I got a Sympathetic News because I don't know how to lean on. I don't know how to be freed from. So once again, kind of a little bit of a theme sometimes on this album, looking at myself and I kind of solitary stuff, but really good guitar work on there, right? Really good guitar work on there, as there has been on the whole album. Good drumming. Now we get to quote the last track. They're separated on Spotify, but I'm going to play them, the last 2 songs together, and I'll tell you why. We got The Line, which we've got Robert on lead vocals on this, and it's going to go right into Open Invitation, which is a hidden track. Yeah, boys and girls, that's what we used to do back in the CD days, in the compact disc. Let's fill that whole thing up. So the hidden tracks were a thing. So Open Invitation, you've got Peter taking us out. So I'm going to let them play together just because that's the way they did them. I like the fact that Spotify separates the tracks, right? The hidden tracks. I do like that. But I'm just going to play them together because that's the way it was done. We'll go back to The Line first. About some sort of righteous judge, sort of, so to speak. So I thought that song it's fine, man. It's not a bad way to end it. Ironically, I think Open Invitation's a really good song, and that's the one they, quote, hid. I think it's got, spiritual connotations in there, and just the way the arrangement is, and they kind of harmonize together, the Open Invitation. I don't know if it's Open Invitation from Jesus or not, but on and on, I've been waiting on the Open Invitation. Your silence, show me no relation. In the rising cold, don't you feel alone? I was standing with your sorrow. All you left me is gone away tomorrow, and we may never be here again. It could be about a love interest, too. Pull me up on either side. Don't leave me standing alone in the light. On and on, I've been waiting on the Open Invitation. Your silence, show me no relation. In the rising cold, don't you feel alone? I'll be standing with your sorrow. All you left me is gone away tomorrow. We may never be here again. So that was a really well done song and a good way to finish this album out. So now we're going to go to my favorite tracks. Honorable mentions. I've got 4 honorable mentions and 2 faves. So honorable mentions, the last song, Open Invitation, gospel song, Promise, and Ain't No Easy Way. My faves are going to be Devil's Waiting and Howl. Howl's my favorite song on here. Now we're going to get to my overall score. There wasn't a bad song on here. I thought the second half of the album maybe wasn't quite as good as the first half, but I don't know now that I look back on it here. I don't know. It has 14 songs. I'll get to the negatives real quick, and there's not a lot of negatives. It has 14 songs. Probably could have done with like 10 or 11, and this album would have been better just because it wouldn't have been quite as long. But I thought they did a good job, especially in the first half of the album, of varying up the arrangements. Quite impressive how versatile they are. I didn't mention Nick Jago a lot on the drums because supposedly he might have only played the drums on Promise, which is a song, if you remember, I likened to the band, the group, the band, where the arrangement was just fantastic. Like the musicianship on that song was fantastic. So he might have been on the others, but where I'd read that he was only on the one, and only one place I read that. But so the drumming was fine, but it was all about Robert and Peter. I think that I like Peter's vocals better, but Robert had the higher percentage of songs that I liked more just from the songs that he sang. But both of these guys are really, really good. So a good album, not a great album, but there's not very many great albums. I'm going to be at a solid 7.5 on this one. This album I'm going to give another spin to just because there's so much to it. It's going to do another spin to it where I'm not, reading lyrics and trying to critique everything and just chill with it. But I enjoy these guys a lot. So thank you to Robert for bringing this one. Let me know what you think of it down below. What are your favorite tracks? Where do you put it in the discography? This one's pretty controversial. Robert mentioned that to me in his patron message to me. But let me know what you think down there below. And until next time, guys, I will see you.